I saw you sniggering then at my intro. Was you laughing at the fact that I had my hands on the trophies?
I was like, what trophies are those? I was
I
like,
knew.
what is this? I thought this was a Tottenham Hotspur channel. What's going on?
Now. Evening, everybody, or morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the show. I'm very lucky tonight to be joined by Elby, massive Manchester City fan, as you all know. Had a lot of love for you, Elby, when I said you was coming on. So how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm buzzing. We scored a goal.
Yeah, the hoodoo has been broken.
I know. Yeah, it was a pretty mad game. Didn't go how I expected it, but yeah, listen, I'm buzzing to be in the next round, and yeah, things are going well for us. So yeah, very happy.
Good, glad to hear it, even though it's at our expense. Just want to talk to you, obviously, about the game. But before we start, I wanted to speak to you about Klopp. Obviously, your manager and Jurgen Klopp, two best managers in the league, known for their battles. How do you feel about Klopp leaving Liverpool at the end of the season?
From a City point of view, it's mint news, isn't it? I mean, he's one of the best managers we've seen. Not by trophies, because if you actually look, he's only won one Prem and one Champions League, and then he's won the domestic cups. So he's not won that much in terms of like the main trophies, but that's because Pep's here. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, so for me, I'm buzzing that he's leaving because I think it probably means Salah might leave as well. You know what I mean? If I was to say to you, what's been the best thing about Liverpool over the last 5 years, you'd say Jurgen Klopp, Mohamed Salah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a chance that Salah could leave as well. I mean, it's obviously bad news for Liverpool, bad news for Liverpool fans. Obviously, they're looking at getting potentially Alonso, but no one knows how that's going to go. You know what I mean? It's a flip of a coin. It could come in and be good. It could come in and flop. He's only managed 60 games. So, you know, it's too early to say what he's going to be like. But yeah, obviously disappointing for Liverpool fans. But yeah, from a City point of view, from an Arsenal point of view, anyone that wants to win the title, it's great news. And I guess even for you guys, like, because where does this leave Liverpool? I mean, they could go from a title race. Are they back in a top 4 race next season without Klopp? You know, I mean, I don't know. No one really knows, I guess, because it's such a big change, and no one really knows if Salah's going to leave as well. But it's massive news. It was such a shock as well. Like, I've not seen I didn't see no rumours about this in the days leading up to it. I was just scrolling through Twitter, and then I seen someone said, haha, Klopp's gone. And I was like, what? You know what Klopp's gone? And I thought it was fake news at
so
first.
Did I.
And then I eventually seen it on Sky, and I was like, oh my God, he's actually gone. And then obviously I watched the interview. So yeah, crazy. But for anyone who's fighting at the top of the table, I think you've just got to say it's good for us.
Yeah, I agree. I do kind of. He's one of them managers that, if he was my manager, I'd love him. But as a rival manager, he's such a whinge bag. So part of me really dislikes him, but then part of me is quite sad because I did always look forward to his interviews, and he is a bit of a character. And we don't have that many character managers in the Premier League anymore. We haven't got the Mourinhos, the Contes. Now another one's leaving. So part of me is sad, but at the same time, part of me is praying this will be the downfall of Liverpool Football Club. I'm not going to lie.
Well, like I said, you don't know, Kate, because at the end of the day, like, I don't think people have fully understood like the gravity of what's happened with this. Like, you know, if they didn't have Klopp, they would have been anywhere near where they've been in the last 8 years. You know, even with the players that they've had. And then like I say, combine that with the fact that, you know, you got to look at Salah, right? What is he, 33? He's got 1 year left on his contract. The Saudis are going to come knocking for him again in the summer. I just don't see how he stayed, unless he just like, I don't want the Saudi money, don't want to go to Saudi. But he'd be like an icon if he went over there. So if he goes, then I automatically, obviously, again, caveat with this, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know who they're going to buy in the transfer window. But automatically, from a starting point, you'd have to say they're no longer in a title race next season. They're in a top 4 race. So yeah, let's see how it goes. It's just mad news. It's just proper shocking because I thought the guy was going to be there for donkey's years.
I know. I was the same as you. I saw it and I thought it was fake news. But then watching Hassam hold back the tears on the terrace the other day actually gave me life. He was devastated.
Mm-hmm.
Big up Hassam, but that was hilariously funny. I'm not going to lie. Talking about it being the whole world being upset that Klopp's gone. He's not dead. He's just left. Let's put it in perspective. But
Okay, some of the reactions. I mean, like, listen. I get it, yeah. He's been a mint manager and that, but come on. Honestly, man, I was like, the guy's not died. You know what I mean? He's won one Prem and one Champions League in what 8 years?
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, I get it. I get the fact that like he's obviously he's adored and that, but I mean the crying.
I know.
I'm like,
I know.
okay,
Absolute
fair enough.
people being distraught. I had to read this out for my husband. He said, "Hi, Kate and LB. Does LB stand for lucky bugger?"
Bloody hell, Jim! I've only been on the channel 7 minutes.
Don't take him long.
He's already coming at me.
Big up to everyone in the chat. Please smash the likes. But yeah, like I say, part of me's gutted, part of me's pleased. But goodness knows what's lays in the future. It's like if Pep had suddenly said that he's going to leave at the end of his contract, we'd all be sort of. I don't think there'd be quite as much panic about City because they're so established, but I think there'd be an element of wow, what on earth's going to happen next? It's like the end of an era. So, but anyway, back to business. Please make sure you sub to LB. His link is pinned in my chat as well. So yeah, what's your thoughts on the Spurs City match on Friday? What did you make of the game?
Weird game. Weird game. I didn't think we played well. I didn't think we played. The guy's still crying, by the way. Yeah. We all heard you on TalkSport, Hussam, crying your eyes out. Yeah,
Yeah, it's some tissue.
Yeah. Here you go, Hussam. You want some tissues, bro? We're all here for you, man. Don't worry. Yeah, you need someone to speak to. Yeah, me and Kate are here for you. You come on the stream if you want. Come on the stream if you want.
Yeah, if you need some therapy, Hassam, jump on.
Yeah, what was he speaking about?
We were saying about the game on Friday.
Oh yeah, the game. Yeah, no, I didn't think City played very well. Actually, I thought we were. I thought there was a couple of periods in the game that I thought we looked okay, but there was a bit sloppy in the final third. Yeah, I don't know. I thought we kept the ball well. But I actually didn't think we played that well, which is, I guess, a credit to us really because we stopped you from doing anything. I mean, you had one shot in the whole game, which was bizarre, really. Given that obviously you're the home team, and I know you didn't have some of your big hitters, but you still had a good starting 11. You still had a good 11 on there. You had Maddison come on towards the end, so to only have one shot on target was pretty wild. So I thought City clearly deserved the win, obviously, based off of how the game went. But yeah, listen, I'm just buzzing to be in the next round. You know, when you're talking like this, performances aren't really that important when it's a cup game, I suppose. It's just all about the result. So yeah, we got over the curse. The curse is over. Yeah, I memean, we finally scored, which is great news. And yeah, I'm just buzzing to be in the next round because I don't know. People have asked me about, oh, do you think you'll do the treble again? And I've said all season, I have a feeling that we're not going to win the FA Cup because we've already won the UEFA Super Cup and the Club World Cup. I had a thought in my head that maybe Pep might just sack it off and really just try and focus on the bigger two trophies because we've already won 2. But obviously, he didn't show any signs of that. He played a strong 11. Brought KDB on at the end. So yeah, I'm just buzzing to be in the next round, to be honest with you. But I was disappointed in you guys. I thought you guys were pretty crap, to be honest with you. I know
awful.
I don't want to get any stick off you guys in the chat because I know most of you guys are probably Spurs fans, but like I'm really disappointed with. Listen, I didn't expect you to turn up and like play prime Barcelona, but I expected you to give us a bit of a game and to only have one shot by the end of the match. I thought that was super poor. I thought at times we were passing the ball around you too easily. I don't know. Listen, I know you had players out, you know what I mean? I know you had quite a few players out, but yeah, I was a little bit like at the end of the game, I was like, what the hell just what happened? Because we've played better than that, miles better than that against you before and lost. That's probably in my opinion, that's probably one of the worst we've played against you at that new stadium. And we won mainly due to the fact I think you guys were just really, really bad. So I don't know, a bit surprised by how bad you were, but you know, it is what it is, I suppose.
I agree. I mean, you won't get any stick in here because we did an instant match reaction and everybody just acknowledge that we were diabolically bad. I mean, there was just no teeth going forward. It was awful. And yeah, there's no doubt that City deserved it. John Clark says, LB, did you think this was going to be another City game where you wouldn't score, or were you confident this was the night?
No, I actually thought we'd win the game. I actually went for a 2-0 score prediction. But yeah, I actually felt like we were going to win. But obviously, as the game went on and on and on and on and on, and you get to 60 minutes, 70 minutes, 80 minutes, and you've still not scored a goal, you're like, bloody hell, here we go again. You know what I mean? I was thinking they're going to get one, aren't they? In the last minute of the game, they're going to score a goal, and it's same old. City go to Spurs, play okay or whatever, and then just don't score. So no, but before the game, I was confident we could win. I went for a 2-0 score prediction. So yeah.
Yeah, it's disappointing for us because, like we all said, City, although they were good, they weren't at their sizzling best. So it felt like there was an opportunity there. But, you know, it is what it is. We missed, we've just got nothing going forward. I mean, we missed Sonny, but we've just got no options. It was just
I mean, poor. I can't remember. Did Richarlison play? Like, I just thought he was
he did play.
He was just completely absent, that guy. And I know he's actually had a bit of goal scoring form recently, but like, I don't remember him touching the ball. Werner, he had 1 or 2 moments, didn't he? But again, didn't really do too much. He went 1-on-1. Kyle Walker done really, really well to get back and do the. You know, that's why we love Kyle Walker in the games against fast players, because, you know, like, imagine going into game, and obviously I'm sure you had this when he was at your club, but like going into games where you're playing against some of the world's best wingers, like the Mbappes of the world, the Vinny Juniors, and just thinking to yourself, we're going to be all right tonight because we've got Kyle Walker. It's such a relief. Now, there are games where maybe you don't want him to play because going forward, he's not the best. You know, he's not the best at putting crosses into the box and linking up the play. So when you're at home against maybe like the Lutons, the Burnleys, the Sheffield Uniteds, where you need a little bit more, you know, we're going to dominate the ball. We're going to have 70% possession, and you're just focusing on breaking the opposition down. Maybe he's not the player that you want really in the starting 11, but like whenever you're playing against a half decent team, you got to play him. He's probably, for me, he's the best defensive right back in the world. He's probably the best right back this country's ever seen, in my personal opinion.
And amazing that he's still got that pace. It's just unbelievable that he still has got that pace.
Well, he's an athlete, isn't he, Kate? He's not like someone who's just like, you know, got a little bit of pace about him because like he's worked on it or whatever. He's a pure athlete. And the thing is about Walker as well, because he will eventually, he'll lose that yard of pace. He'll still be fast, but he'll use that yard. He'll move to centre back. Now, maybe he won't do that at City because maybe he's not quite good enough in that situation for Manchester City. But I could see Kyle Walker playing until he's 42, 43, because, you know, when he does lose that little bit of pace, he'll just move to centre half. We've seen it. He's done it once or twice for City before. He's done it for England in a back three. So he could easily do that. I think I'm not saying it has to be at the top level. I'm not saying it has to be for City. He could go down a few teams, or he could, you know, go abroad or whatever. But this guy could play into his 40s without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I just think he's magnificent. I've always liked him, and just watching him, that pace still at his age. I mean, it's incredible, really. But it shows if you take care of yourself, you know, these players. Look at Ronaldo; he's another one. I've got to bring this up. I know what you're going to say, but obviously, the only person I've heard say it was a foul on Vicario was that Dan. That one that goes on the fan shows on the football terrace, the little Spurs fan that's very deluded and curly-haired little child, who said that it was a definite foul on Vicario and we were robbed. Me personally, I don't think it was. I think Vicario should have been stronger. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, LB.
Yeah, no, listen, just because a keeper gets touched doesn't mean it's a foul. It actually has to be a foul. I didn't think it was a foul at all. I looked at it and thought, I think Vicario was... the first thing I'd say, by the way, is that Ruben Dias has been doing that all game. We had 15 or 16 corners. This wasn't something that was a shock. I'm quite surprised that one of your players didn't stand next to Dias to sort of like stop him from getting close to the goalkeeper. So that's the first thing I'd be looking at if I was a Spurs fan. I'm saying, why is Dias just there on his own challenging Vicario? He's done it all game. He had 16 corners. And I just think Vicario has just completely come out with no strength, no mettle in his attempt. And I don't think Dias does anything wrong. The guy he's allowed, because this is the thing. People are saying it's a foul by it. What's Dias meant to do? Just go, oh, sorry, Vicario, come on through, mate. He's got to challenge for the ball. He's not done anything wrong. He's just stepped back. He's gone for the challenge, and Vicario's come over the top of him, completely messed it up. Yeah, and obviously Ake's there to poke it home. So never a foul in my opinion. I think you've got to look. Number one, why have I not got a defender marking Diaz and maybe getting a body between the goalkeeper? Because that's what you often see. This isn't a new thing. You often see players get on the goalkeeper to try and put them off because of what happened against Spurs in the City game. But you usually have like a defender who's also in the mix for your team to try and protect the goalkeeper. Well, you guys just sort of left Vicario to it and were like, yo, Vicario, you can deal with it. And Vicario, as good as he's been this season, he's not the strongest of guys. He's quite a skinny guy, isn't he? You know what I mean? So I imagine that's got to be something that Ange's got to look at that going forward and say, right, if the opposition put a player on our goalkeeper, Vicario is not strong enough to deal with it. So we need another player in there. And again, that happens all the time. Like, I see it all the time, week in, week out. So I am really surprised that you left Vicario to it. But yeah, for me, never a foul, not in a month of Sundays. And the goal was right for the given.
To be fair, our defence had a reasonably good game, and that was just so. I can't work out why they didn't sort of put a man next to Vicario, in front of Vicario. I don't know
especially so long to the end, like so close to the end of the game as well, Kate. Like you literally, what was the goal at 86, 87th minute, something like that. Like you just see it out. Like you've been this is what I think in situations like that. I think the players should recognise how the game's gone, right? And if I was a Spurs player, like an experienced Spurs player, I would be looking at that saying, we've been arsed today, yeah, we've been really bad. We've had one shot, right? City are still coming. City don't want to take this back to a replay. You know, they got Champions League coming up. They want to win this. Let's take this to their ground and retry our tactics again. Let's try another day type situation. And then you just start organising stuff at the back. And maybe you didn't have a leader in there. I don't know. Like I actually thought I agree with your statement about your defense. Your defense was really good. Van der Ven, excellent. Udogie, oh my god! I mean, he was absolutely amazing. Like I don't think he put a single foot wrong.
I'm glad you said that because he's had quite a lot of stick because the stats say he gave the ball away a lot. But I thought in that first half he was magnificent.
You know what, though? People look at stats too much. When I do the player ratings, right, I go through the stats, but then I also combine it with the eye test.
Yeah.
No one can tell me that Doggy had a bad game. So what if he misplaced the pass a couple of times? At the end of the day, he defended really well against a good side, treble winning World Cup winning side, the best team in the world at the moment. Like, I think sometimes people look a little bit too much at stats and stuff. Like, at the end of the day, if you look at Kevin De Bruyne's numbers, he has some of the worst passing accuracy in the league. Why?
Yeah.
He's trying to put dangerous balls into dangerous areas. So, I just think stats sometimes. I do look at stats because I like them, but you can't just go off of stats. You know what I mean? You've got to combine it with what you saw in the day. I thought Udogie was fantastic.
Yeah, I did too. For me, I was never all that concerned that City were going to score, although you had most of the ball. But once he brought on to Bruynes and Doku, for me, it was like men playing boys. They're different gravy, completely different gravy to anything we had on that pitch. Did you think that they lifted their game once they came on, or that they made the difference?
Well, I thought Doku was shocking when he come on. To be honest,
yeah.
Once we scored, he was mint. He just kept the ball in the corner.
Okay.
He took all of him when we want one up, but at 0-0, I mean, I thought it was awful. And obviously Pep Guardiola was shouting at him as well because he wasn't running back and making the defensive actions. But from Kevin De Bruyne, oh my god, this is why I've been so confident all season. You know what I mean about the league, Kate? Because people have said to me, "Oh, like what you think about the league?" I'm like, if you keep Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, and Rodri fit, we'll win the league. And it's not an arrogance thing. It's because they're the best players in the league. Rodri's the best defensive midfield player in the world. Kevin De Bruyne's probably the best creative player in the world, if not one of the best players in the world. And Haaland's the best finisher in the world, best striker in the world. So it's not rocket science. It's not arrogant. It's just like, what do you want me to do? Sit here and twirl my thumbs and be like, oh, yeah, well, maybe Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool. Liverpool's a very good team, as are Arsenal. But if City keep their players fit, City will win the league, in my opinion, because they're just better than everyone else. So Kevin De Bruyne, I mean, obviously City have taken it super slow, bringing him back from fitness. I mean, I think he's been fit from the middle of December, but they're just taking it super cautious, which is, I understand. He's 33, getting on a bit. He's had a few hamstring injuries. This is a surgery that he's had. But I'm telling you now, if he stays fit, it's a disaster for City if they don't win the league, because he's unbelievable. You know, I got mad odds. Did I tell you about the bet that I put on? I tell everyone about this bet.
No.
Listen to this, yeah. So when he was injured, 2 weeks before he got injured, right, I went on the Premier League top assisters this season, and it was Salah on 7. Yeah, but really, that's pretty low. So then I went on odds. I went on Betway, right. Kevin De Bruyne, top assister this season in the Premier League, 125 to 1.
Wow.
I said, you what? 125 to 1? Who are you talking about? You know what I mean? This is Kevin De Bruyne. So I said, I don't think he's going to win it, because he's on 1 and Salah's now on 8. Salah is injured though. But I'm thinking 125 to 1. He's got half a season left. So I stuck 20 quid on it, £2.5 if it comes in. And now it's 16 to 1. It's 16 to 1 now. And I got it at 125 to 1. So they massively mispriced that. So I got on that, man. I was just like, oh my God, what are they doing?
Wow, that's
and
unbelievable.
We've got Burnley coming up next at home.
Wow. Oh my God. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne for me is just, I just can't rave about him highly enough. He's one of the best players to watch that I've ever seen in the Premier League. He can do anything. He's just so good. Not sure about the new haircut. I can't decide if I like it or not. He's going for a bit of a Grealish vibe, which is a bit strange, but it seems to be working for his form. But GBC says, do you think Kevin De Bruyne can drag Belgium into a Euros win? No.
They've had their chance, BBC. They had the chance a few years ago, didn't they? When they had all like the prime sort of, they had the companies, the Hazards, the KDBs, Lukaku was firing them in, and then, I actually think in the last World Cup, Kevin De Bruyne said, it's gone. So I think he'll probably retire after this Euros.
Right. Okay. I mean, Rodri is my favourite player in the league. I'm really annoyed at Romero for not crunching De Bruyne. Is that when it led to the corner? Is that tackle? A lot of people were saying Romero was reckless there, but I don't think he was. I don't think he had a choice but to sort of take the man out. I'm always critical of Romero because I think he's a bit of a bozo, but I don't think he did anything wrong there. Obviously, it wasn't a great match. Particularly for a Spurs fan, it was not a great match to watch because we were so bad. But if you had to give a man of the match, who would you have given it to? I mean, I would have given it for De Bruyne, and he was only on for however many minutes, but I just thought he was brilliant.
I would give it Ake. I would give it Ake, yeah. I mean, defensively, didn't put a foot wrong, playing out from the back. He's been our best defender for the last 18 months.
I've always liked him. Always liked Ake.
Brilliant signing. Got 40 million.
Yeah.
And some people looked at it and went, got Bournemouth relegated, Chelsea reject. Been our best defender for the last 18 months.
Yeah.
Don't put a foot wrong. Play left back, centre half. He's good on the ball. He's developed on the ball, because that was one side of his game which was slightly weak at first, which was playing out from the back. He wasn't the best, but he's developed that. Now he's firing balls into our strikers, our wingers and stuff. Like, listen, every single game that we play now, I'm kind of looking at Ake saying I need him to play. Despite the Guardiols, despite the John Stones, the Diaz's, like, I want Ake to play. He's just a fantastic player. So, I would give it Ake. Great defensively, great on the ball, and got the goal.
Yeah, I think he was the one I'd give it to, actually. I think it's just because I watch De Bruyne and I'm in awe because I just think he's so brilliant. So I'm a little bit biased. Romero's the most overrated defender. I think Nick is he is a Man City fan. He came in on Friday and said that you were going to beat us 10-0.
Go on,
so it's a little bit optimistic, but you did win. So
got one of the digits right, I suppose.
Yeah.
Maybe you went, do you not mean 1-0? Maybe you meant 1-0.
Yeah, maybe it was a typo. The dribbles from Ake, yeah. I mean, every player you've got, you can't really criticise any City players. They're all unbelievable. Obviously, we had the draw today. You got pulled out last of all, away to Luton. How do you feel about? I mean, obviously, I probably amongst everyone was hoping you'd get Liverpool because I wanted to see a Giants, but I expect a lot of people want that as the final. So,
well, yeah, exactly. I would have took Liverpool at home. You know what I mean? And I'd rather play them now than in the final, because if you lose in the final, it's grim. You know, and we've all lost cup finals, and obviously
we've lost loads.
Yeah, you lost one against us in the Carabao Cup when you sacked Mourinho the week before you was there, which was
don't go there.
That has got to be one of the strangest things any club has done in the world. But yeah, listen, I'm obviously Luton. It's away, and we struggled a bit. Well, we didn't struggle. We played them when we was in that bit of a weird form. You know what I mean? You know, when we won one game in 6, and everyone was like, "What's going on with City?" We played them there, and we won, but on another day we might not have won. So I would rather it have been at home, but there are more difficult teams in there than Luton. So I guess you've got to kind of be happy. But it's FA Cup; anything can happen. I mean, look at today. United could have got knocked out.
Yeah, close, very close. I mean, Liverpool ended up cruising through, didn't they? 5-2 it finished. So they ended up cruising, but Maidstone yesterday, was it, knocked out Ipswich? Yeah. You know, anything can happen. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be Liverpool or City that win it, particularly if form prevails. What was I going to say? I've completely forgotten. I was reading something someone put. What do you think City's will actually walk away with winning this year? I know it's hard to say. You're obviously confident for the league.
Yeah, I think we'll win the league. I think we'll win the Champions League. I just have a feel that we want not going to win the FA Cup. I don't know. I've said it all season. I just don't think we're going to win it. I don't know. I just got a weird feeling that we're not going to win the FA Cup. So
just the double this year.
Well, quadruple. We've already won the UEFA Super Cup and the Club World Cup.
Well, yeah, if you count them.
I'm counting them. I always count them all. So yeah, I know. I think the Champions League. I mean, I don't know about you. I don't know how much European football you watch, but some of the European teams are diabolical. Like
they seem to have fallen off a cliff.
Big time. And what it means is, right, and you won't like this, but like even teams like Arsenal have a bit of a chance at winning it. And I know it sounds stupid. It sounds stupid, Kate, but the standard of like football teams across Europe at the moment is just in the pits. I mean, I watched Bayern Munich a few times this season. So average at best. And we thumped them last year. Real Madrid, I think Real Madrid are our main threats, but I just think until they get an out-and-out striker, and we battered them 2 years in a row. I know they beat us two years ago, but we battered them that time. We really should have gone through. And last year, we absolutely thumped them. PSG, I mean, how long do we keep giving them chances and credibility for? They never seem to do it. And then you look at the Italian teams who, you know, people disrespect the Italian teams, but they've if you actually look at the European competitions, Conference, Europa, Champions League, I think they've got quite a lot of teams in it still in the competition. So I think that City will win the Champions League. Just because I just think the standard of teams in Europe is so poor. So I just think we've got to try and spam it, you know, while we can. Because at the end of the day, you know, United only won 3 European Cups, you know. They've only won 3. We're already on 1. So you win 1, you win it this year, you're only 1 behind them. Do you know what I mean? So
that's really important to City and Man United, isn't it? This whole rivalry with trophies, because Terry's always going on about it. So it must be.
Well, you're not going to catch the league titles anytime soon. They're on 19.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And City are on like 9. So you know, it's a long time for that. But like European Cups, you know, they're only on 3. Like, you know what I mean? If you get to 2, you win it this year, you're only 1 behind them. That's got to be a massive incentive for City players and the manager to say, right, come on, let's go and get another one. So yeah, I think I'll say the Premier League and the Champions League, but for some reason I just don't think we're going to win the FA Cup, which is annoying.
That's really random.
I know it is random, isn't it? But you know, you just get like a gut feeling.
Yeah.
I'd love to sit here and be like, we're going to win the treble again. And literally, it's clearly doable. It's clearly possible. But for some reason, I just don't think we're going to win the FA Cup. I just don't know why.
Wow. Top of the league says, I doubt Arsenal will get past Porto. They're a horrible side at home. Bayern have Eric Dier now. You know, how can you compete with that? What a player.
What are they doing? What are Bayern Munich doing, man? Like, they used to be a serious football club.
I thought I was in the twilight zone when I read that, and I thought this has got to be false news. This cannot possibly be true. Yeah. And then they go and sign him. It's like,
did they pay you money as well, or did you give him on a free?
No, he's on loan because he's only got 6 months left of his contract.
Oh, okay.
So we never have to see him again. Thank the Lord.
I think he's awful football player, mate.
Oh, he's diabolical.
It's like a chess piece. You know what I mean? Where he can only go like forward, backwards, left, and right. Like he can't. Like I'm on a swivel chair like this. Now he can't swivel. He can just go forward, that way, and then that way. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, what is this guy doing? He's so slow. Oh my days! Like every time he plays for Spurs or England, I'm just like, God help us.
The state of our football club, we gave him a better send off than Harry Kane. That speaks volumes about Tottenham Hotspur, I'm afraid. Mia's asking, would you rather have, who do you think's better, Arteta or Ange?
Well, that's difficult, really, because it's early days, isn't it, for Ange?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, what's Arteta done in 4 years? Won one cup with not his team, but Ange hasn't done anything yet. Disappointed with. The only things I'd be disappointed with Ange would be the team that he put out against Fulham in the cup, because I thought that was stupid. I'd be a little bit concerned at the high-line tactics that he played against Chelsea, because that to me was very strange. And then yesterday, again, another cup game, such a mediocre performance. And I know, again, I know you had players out, but still wasn't great. But listen, it's early days. I judge him next year. Yeah, I judge him next year. I think next year you got to set him realistic expectations and realistic targets. Top 4 has to be the aim, and you got to win a trophy. Do you know what I mean? Like you got to. People say, "Oh yeah, if you get top 4, it's fine." How about both? Why can't you get top 4 and win a trophy next season? So I'll probably judge him next year. I also judge in your board heavily, because for me, Kate, one of my main issues with Spurs over the years is just your spending has just been atrocious, in my opinion. Like, you spent a lot of money, man. If you actually look at the money, I know some years you've not spent anything, but like if you look at it on like a longer term basis, you guys have spent money. I just think that like you've always tried to buy players who are like kind of unknown and then develop them into these super talents, but then the ones that work you sell. I think Spurs need to now take a jump from that club that buys the unknown players and trying to a team that buys the players that City are trying to buy, that Liverpool are trying to buy, that Arsenal are trying to buy. And don't give me no nonsense about you can't compete. Yeah, you're a massive club based in London with a lot of revenue. Yeah. Now you might have to pay him a little bit more money than we do. That's what we had to do when we first got bought. We had to pay players more money than other teams will, because they didn't want to come to us. So to entice them to the club, you have to pay them over the odd wages. But after a certain amount of time, when players actually want to come to you, that's regular. I think Spurs now really need to sort of buy more senior players, buy players that are playing in the Champions League, because there's no excuse for me now. And if you don't do that, what is the future for Spurs? Are we just going to keep seeing the same Spurs things every year, where you just finish, between 6th and 3rd? You might have a good year, you might get to a cup final, you might qualify for the Champions League, have a good cup run, but ultimately you'll sell your best players, because that's what you typically do. You sell your best players, and that's it. So yes, I'm judging Ange, but I'm also judging your board, and I'm like, your board needs to start making proper signings now.
Yeah. Before I go on to that, do you not find it all a little bit weird and creepy that Arsenal fans are so behind Mikel Arteta? I mean, they're talking about offering him a contract now, and the Arsenal fans are buzzing. The majority are buzzing about it. And I just think, in the old days, like when I was growing up, before you were born, Elby, Arsenal expected to win something every year and to compete every year and to be one of the biggest teams. And yes, they are a massive team. But this guy, for me, in 4 years, he ain't done a lot. And yet they all seem to adore him. And I don't understand it. I'm not going to lie. I don't understand it.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I just don't understand what the rush is to give him a new contract. He's got 1 year left on his deal. How about, right, you just say to him in the summer, right, you got 1 more year, win the league, and you get a new contract. If you don't, we'll say, thank you very much for doing what you've done, for doing the phases that they're all obsessed with. You've took us as far as you can. You can leave at the end of the contract. I'm sure there'll be a lot of clubs that want you as your manager, and then we'll try and get a new manager that can take us to that next step. What's wrong with that? Yeah, I don't see what is wrong with that at all.
Yeah, I agree, and also agree, obviously, about Daniel Levy. This is what Do you know what? It's the main divisor in our fan base, because if you don't slag Levy off, you're considered a Levy inner. If you slag Levy off, you're a Levy outer. And there seems to be no middle ground for Tottenham fans. You've either got to be one or the other. Now, I'm not a Levy inner or an outer. Yes, Levy's brilliant for this football club as a company, but we need someone in charge of the football matters other than Daniel Levy, who knows what he's doing. That's how I am, because I mean, we're the richest club in London now. We're 300 and something million away from even touching FFP, and we're taking Timo Werner on loan and signing Dragusin, who may be a fantastic signing. I don't know, but we should be going out there looking at these big names that are available, or just going in and making big money offers for these players to take us to that next level. And yet we never seem to do it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think you've got to start to change your the way that your club operates, because it's like the Brighton stuff, right? Everyone raves about Brighton and stuff. But I'm telling you now, that model's not sustainable. That model is not sustainable, because there's only so long you can buy these young players and develop them into world-class talents before you just start hitting some bad luck on players, because you sign a player, it's a gamble, right? And a lot of the Brighton ones are working out well. At some point, they'll go through a bad spell and they'll get players in and they'll just all flop. And then what will happen then? And like, at the end of the day, at some point, that will only take you so far before football. You just have to buy the best players. I mean, again, it's not rocket science. The teams that win the most things are the teams with the best players. Do you know what I mean? And I'm glad you said that about your money, because Spurs can compete. You know what I mean? You got a big stadium, you got massive revenues, you're based in the heart of the capital of the country, you know what I mean? In based in London. Like, there's no excuses. And if anyone gives excuses, it's because they're not willing to push this club further. Do you know what I mean? So listen, like I said, as a neutral, I want to see Spurs, do some more stuff in the transfer market. Like, this Dragusin is probably a good example. Like, listen, I'm not saying he's not going to be a good player. He might be a good player, but like, this again kind of strikes me as a type of signing that Spurs would do. But let's see how he gets on. Who knows? I've never seen him play, but I don't know, man. I just want to see you target a little bit more. Like, the James Maddison, for example, is a perfect example of what I want to see Spurs do.
Yeah.
Everyone knew Maddison's a great player. I just took him at City. Great player. Do more of them type of signings. Buy players who, like, we know are going to work, rather than buying kind of gambles like the Lo Celsos, the Brian Gills of this world. Do you know what I mean? Where it's just like, so yeah, your club actually wind me up a little bit, because as a football fan, your club has potential to win stuff, and I just feel like the people who run your club just kind of, they don't really fancy it, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Grealish, we haggled with Aston Villa and lost Grealish for the sake of, I think it was £3 million, and then he ended up going to you for like 100 million. We could have had him, I think, for 25. It's things like that where you go, wow, Levy, you're meant to be this top businessman and you've just made the biggest mistake. It's the most frustrating team to support, honestly, because, and like, whenever I go on the top six, the first thing anyone comes back with is, oh yeah, but you're Spurs, you don't win nothing. And it's like, you can't come back with anything, because it's true. We never win anything.
But the thing with the Grealish thing there then, so you just talk about there about you didn't want to pay the extra 3 million. It might not have been worth that at the time, but the big clubs know that. They know that you overpay. City didn't think Grealish was worth £100 million.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, if City think that Grealish is what we need, which, people don't like him, he's a bit Marmite, yeah. But at the end of the day, since he's come in, we won the Premier League and a treble. Right, so he's not been that bad. And people say, we didn't do anything last year. So you tell me we won a treble with 10 men, because he played pretty much every single game. So we didn't win a treble with 10 men, did we? He was a vital part of City's team last year. Sometimes you just have to overpay. Not just your team, by the way. Arsenal are the same. Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember when they went in for Suarez at Liverpool and they put in that stupid bid of 40 million and a penny or whatever? If they would have bought Suarez that year, they would have won the league. Facts. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind, right, that if they would have bought Suarez that year, they would have won the league. But they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to act like a big club, and acting like a big club, unfortunately for them and our clubs, means sometimes you just have to overpay. But that's what happens, man. Like, at the end of the day, it's supply and demand, isn't it? If I've got a house that I don't really want to sell, but like some big corporation comes and wants to buy me a house, I'm like, well, you could pay me double the market value then, because I don't want to sell. Like, you have to just do it. You have to bite it off.
Do you know what? That shows the depth of City and how good your squad is, that you've paid 100 million for Grealish. And I mean, I saw him warming up yesterday, Friday, but he didn't get on the pitch, did he?
No, I didn't come on. Could Doku come on? Yeah.
I mean, it's just baffling that you could have a £100 million player and he don't get on the pitch. To me, I mean, it's a different world. City's world to Tottenham's world is a whole different level.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing. You've got to build your squad. And people will look at, like, the Grealishes, but people don't speak about the Oscar Bob, you know what I mean, come through the academy, and Pep is now starting him in games. People don't speak about the fact that Doku, anyone could have signed Doku. Cost 45 billion quid. You know what I mean? You know, you got bloody you bought Brenan Johnson for that for similar money. So anyone could have bought Doku. You look at the likes of Ake, 40 million. Any Premier League team could have bought him. Akanji. Probably been this season. I know Ake's been our best defender over 18 months. This season specifically, Akanji's probably been our best defender. 15 million pounds from Dortmund. I remember with the day we signed him, I was doing a stream. So it's breaking news: City have signed Manuel Akanji from Borussia Dortmund. My stream was full of Borussia Dortmund fans telling me that we've been absolutely robbed, that Akanji is an absolutely terrible footballer. 15 million quid my club signed him for, and he's been our best defender this year. And last year he had a great season as well. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
And you look at like the goalkeeper, Edison, 30 million. When you look at the likes of Kepa and Alisson, we're going for 60, 70, 80 million pound. Yeah, obviously you got the expensive players, but you know, you can't have 11 players that are all worth 100 million quid. You've got to do your scouting, and that's why you've got to kind of trust your scouts. And unfortunate for you guys, you probably just don't trust your scouting team or your board, because they bought you a lot of duds over the years.
Not only that, but we've got this fantastic academy, and yet nothing comes out of it. Do you know what I mean? We never get a superstar that walks into the first team. Very rarely that we get someone, or that we can sell on and make a lot of money for. Whereas every other team, Chelsea, Man City, get these stars out of their academy, and it's like, why? No, it's baffling. It's baffling to me. Daniela says, your feelings on the Phillips loan?
Yeah, I think it's a good signing for everyone. He's not good enough for Manchester City, unfortunately, but he needed to move. I don't think it was good for him. 18 months without playing football can't be easy to.
He still won about 5 trophies, I think, though, while he was at City.
Yeah, someone done the maths. He's won 5. He started 6 games and won 5 trophies. So it's not a bad return. But yeah, he needed to play, man. That can't be good for you, like your mental health. That if you just constantly on the bench. And Pep's made it clear that he ain't getting played, mate. Like, and people say he's not being given the chance. Let me tell you, as a City fan, he got given a chance plenty of occasions in easy situations. You know, when you're 3-0 up against teams, he comes on for 20 minutes and he's just not good enough. So good move all around. I actually think West Ham are building a really good squad there. Now we'll see if it gets dismantled in the summer if teams come in for like Paqueta and that. But they've got a mega team, you know, proper underrated.
I was saying that earlier when we found out that we might have been beaten to Antonio Nusa by Brentford. I said West Ham have done some fantastic business. I'd take kudos all day long. I think James Ward-Prowse has been brilliant for them. I think Calvin Phillips is a great signing for them. I would have taken him at Spurs, and yet I don't know.
I'm surprised more teams weren't in for Calvin Phillips. It's a loan deal, 6 million quid, right? So that's pretty cheap these days for a loan. And and you could have got like a pretty decent buy option there as well. I think City wanted like a 35 million pound buy option, which if it's an option, you're only going to do it if it's worked. So, you know what I mean? It's in your hands. I'm quite surprised that no one else really went in for him. Because like at the end of the day, if it don't work, you don't just give him back. It's a loan deal. Who cares?
Exactly. Like we've done with Timo Werner, which we'll see. We'll see at the end of the season how that worked out. Although I thought he did all right on Friday night, I must admit, I did think he made some good runs.
I actually defended Spurs on this transfer. Yeah, surprisingly, I thought it was again. People were slating Spurs. I thought it was a no-brainer. It's a loan deal, and at the end of the day, if you look at his record, this guy has hit mega form in the past. His first spell at Leipzig, guy was getting like 27 goals a season for 4 years on the bounce. I'm sorry, there is a player in there. Yes, he can be frustrating at times, but if you can unlock him, and then I don't know if you got a buy option to buy him in the summer, maybe. I guess we have. Yeah, that'd probably be cheap.
It is. I can't remember how much it is. Something ridiculous. It's only cheap, but I can't think off the top of my head how much it was.
If you bought him for like 40 million, then I might be like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? The same with Havertz. You know what I mean? That's the problem with the Havertz deal. You know, the problem with Arsenal signing Havertz isn't that they signed him. It's the fact that they spent £65 million. It's the same with Timo Werner. It's fine. Yeah. If you bought him for 45 million quid, then I'd be sitting here having a different conversation saying, why have you done that? Similar to what you've done with Brenan Johnson. I don't really get that one, to be honest with you.
No,
but at the end of the day, if Timo Werner doesn't work, no problem. Send him back. You know, what's the problem? I think sometimes people just want to be a bit like too critical for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, 13.5 million, roughly around there it is.
It's no brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, I hope he comes good. He's got a lot to prove. I should think he's trying to get back into the national team. So we'll see. I don't like to judge players too soon, although Brenan Johnson's rapidly losing my confidence. I'm not going to lie.
I don't get that. I mean, what was that? What was that all about? Is it English squad quota? Do you not have enough English players? Because to hit the quota, I just don't get that one at all.
Well, if we needed that, we should have gone and got someone cheap that was. I mean, I'd have rather had someone like Conor Cody. At least you know what he could do. I mean, Brenan Johnson. I think he needs to grow into his confidence. I don't think he looks very confident. It's like the weight of pressure on him just seems like it's too much. He looks like he's stunned all the time and don't really know what to do.
I don't know what his best position is, mate. Is he a striker? Is he a winger? Is he an inside forward? Is he an attacking midfielder? I don't know why I play him. Because he doesn't look like a great finisher. He doesn't look like he's good when he goes one-on-one. He doesn't look like he's a great finisher. So I won't have him as a striker.
He's flexible, but he's meant to like his main position's on the wing. But he said he can like play anywhere in the front line. But we've not seen that much of him really to suggest that he's going to do anything good. But at the end of the day, we'll have to wait and see. Like I say, it's not been that long, so we'll try and give him a bit of time without being too critical. Obviously, I've been with you on the top six quite a lot, and I've seen you sort of a couple of weeks ago. I think you say people write off Spurs. Of course, they're in a title race, whatever. Obviously, that might have changed now. But what do you think about this whole new era of Spurs under Ange? Do you see it going in a positive way? Is it going to be dependent on Levy?
Yeah, I think it's going to be dependent on Levy. Now, it's not all dependent on Levy. Of course, your team still has to perform and Ange still has to do good. But like early signs are that like he looks like I won't say great manager, but he looks like a competent manager that can keep you in the sort of top five. The question for me now is, will he get backed with better players? And who's buying these players? Yeah. Like I said, for me, I think you need a fundamental change in transfer strategy to go and get more players, more of the James Maddisons. Go get more of those type of players. I thought Newcastle, I thought they've been really unlucky with injuries this year, but they've done it with the Harvey Barnes of this world and the guy they signed from Everton and these type of players, Lewis Hall, Timo Livramento. Go and sign like players that are like good players. Like we know these are good players. We know they played in the Premier League. We know they're good players rather than getting these gambles. So the problem is you've got City, who, unless we get relegated, are not going anywhere anytime soon. Arsenal are actually starting to spend a lot of money now. Now, I still question I think they're a bit similar to you in the sense that I don't fully believe in their transfer sort of process.
Yeah.
Aston Villa, they're backed by a lot of cash. United will always be up there because they just got too much money. And Chelsea, I mean, they spent £1 billion in 18 months. They'll continue to spend. Newcastle are owned by the Saudis. But the straight sort of view is that Tottenham, if they buy well, they can go up and they start competing in a year or two. If I take a step back, I go, you're probably one of the poorest teams there in terms of like getting backed by owners. So I don't know. I think it needs to be. I think you need to improve quick because if you don't and you have a bit of a drop off, I think you might find it a bit difficult to catch back up because the way that teams are spending money now is like everyone's just spending 60, 70 million quid on players these days. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there's reasons to be optimistic, but I don't know. I'd still have a little bit of caution if I was a Spurs fan.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a shame because this season we've seen a drop-off from quite a lot of teams. Chelsea ain't going to be like this like next year, I'm sure of it. Man United are probably going to get their act together. Newcastle are probably going to get better. So I kind of feel that next season's going to be a lot more difficult for Ange. So this summer for Tottenham, in my opinion, is enormous because desperately need some new players coming in. We had nothing. We just had nothing against you going forward. I couldn't see where a goal was ever going to come from. That was the thing. I just couldn't see us scoring. And that's just not Tottenham. We've always been known, obviously, we had Kane and Sonny, and our front line was feared by everybody. But the defence was a bit shaky. And now I feel our defence is quite solid and we've got nothing up front. We can't seem to get it all right in one go. And obviously, it is going to take time, but it's so frustrating because we're constantly going round in circles. It's just... It's hard for you to imagine. I mean, I don't know. How long have you been a City fan for? Before they were massively rich?
Yeah, since I was a kid, yeah.
Yeah, so a long time. So you do kind of know what it's like, but at least for us, we haven't seen Tottenham win a trophy for so many years. There's that desperation where we need to win something for us, for the fans, and for the fact that every rival banters Tottenham for being the club that wins nothing, and it is the most frustrating thing because you just can't come back with anything except go, yeah, you're right. But we'll see. I mean, I do have faith in Ange. I said when he first got appointed, if we win anything, it will be in spite of Levy, not because of Levy. But Levy did make a couple of early signings for him. So this summer will be key for me in what we do and where it takes us. But I agree with you. We need to be aiming for that next level of player. And no good keep bringing in these kids either. I mean, he wanted 2 centre-backs. He bought him Ashley Phillips, who's 18 and hasn't had a game. It's not right. But I've got to ask you, Elby, how are you feeling about these FFP charges? Obviously, one of your ex-finance people come out and said something, and then the head of UEFA came out and said that he believes you're guilty or something or another, and there seems to be people coming out the woodwork everywhere putting their 2 pence in.
Yeah. No, I think that UEFA one was a bit like overblown. I think people, like, at the end of the day, what was he supposed to say?
Yeah.
No, we didn't believe City were not guilty. So, like, because then people have said, well, why did you charge him then? Obviously, he's got to back the fact that he brought the charges. For me, my personal opinion is I don't think we will be found guilty of the FFP breaches because what they're alleging is fraud. So what you need to understand is for them to say that we're guilty, they've got to say that our board, the vice president of the UAE, board members of the Etihad Airways, board members of Etisalat are all in on this corruption fraud. To do that, they're going to need some pretty strong evidence. You can't just do that off a whim. And if you look at the case that went to CAS when UEFA done it, the case was thrown out. The case was completely thrown out by CAS. CAS said, you've got no evidence. I think if you actually go on the CAS document and control F and type in no evidence, it comes up like 18, 20 times. I'm not, by the way, people say to me, do you think you're innocent or guilty? I don't know. I've never once said my club is innocent. I've never once said my club is guilty. I have no idea. I wasn't in the boardrooms when the deals were being done. I've not seen what happened. And I think anyone that says for sure, in my opinion, you're guilty or not guilty, is just chatting nonsense because no one truly knows. Whether I think we'll be found guilty or not, that's a different question. And I think we won't be found guilty. I think we'll be found innocent because I don't think they're going to have the evidence that they need, which is actually why a couple of people in the press have said they're quite surprised at how strongly they've gone because it's like if you do a crime, do you know what I mean? If you just rob like some sweets from the shop, they're going to need less evidence to prosecute you compared to like a bloody murder or something. It's serious stuff. So I don't think we'll be found guilty because I don't think they're going to have the evidence that they're going to need because, like I say, for them to say that they're guilty, it's a criminal offence. What they're alleging is fraud. That means you've broken the I think it's some sort of accounting law in the UK because that means that the accounts that you've submitted to a company's house are wrong because you've said revenue has come from sponsors and it's not, it's come from equity funding. So that means you've fraudulently misrepresented your accounts. That's a crime. Do you know what I mean? That means our board members are up for a criminal prosecution if they say they're guilty. So I just don't think I'd be surprised. A guy who used to work at Manchester City before the takeover, so he didn't work there when this new owner was here, but he said the same thing. He said he doesn't think they're going to be found guilty because to say they're guilty, you are basically saying all these members of all these different companies are all guilty of fraud. And that's going to be, and there's only 3 people on the commission, 2 solicitors and a finance director. And they're going to know, right? They're already going to know, these people who are going to make this decision, they're going to know that if we're going to find these guilty, we've got to make sure we have some mad evidence. And if they've got the evidence, fair. We'll get found guilty. We'll get thrown out the league. We'll have to come up through the divisions or whatever happens. We'll take it on the chin, and it is what it is. You've got to take your punishment. But for them to do that, they're going to need some serious evidence that UEFA didn't have when it went to CAS, as proved in the CAS document. Are the Premier League going to have any evidence? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But City have also said that they're not guilty. So this is another thing, the Everton and Forest, these guys have said they're guilty. This is why it happens so quickly. This is why it frustrates me when people are like, why is it taking so long? Why? Because City is saying they're not guilty of fraud. It's a serious allegation. Everton accepted that they breached the rules.
So out of that 115 charges, I know a lot of them are repeated charges on different things. Do you expect to get not guilty on all of them, or do you think they might get found guilty of some of the smaller ones? I know it's hard to say because we like you say, we don't know what's going on. But
so we'll get found guilty of not cooperating, because that's what we got found. We got found not guilty at UEFA for the same thing. So we'll get a fine, 100%. I don't think it's going to be a case of you'll get found guilty for a sum. I think it's none or all. I think we're either getting busted, big time, or we'll walk away, in my opinion. Because if you look at them, first of all, the 115 thing is a little bit misrepresented. It is basically 4 to 5 rules that we've breached, but we've breached them for 8 years, and that's how it's. But they're all interlinked. So if you breach one, you breach the other. So you're not going to breach one and then be like, oh, but you're fine on that one, that one, that one, that one. Like if we misrepresented the income from Etihad Airways, for example, that's one rule breached. Well, that's also then going to mean that you breached FFP, which is a separate rule. So I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be you either breached them all or you're not breached any.
Yeah. So City fans as a whole, obviously, do you think that you're all quite chilled about it? I mean, I'd be having kittens. I'm not going to lie. I'd be having absolute kittens.
Yeah, obviously, it's not ideal. It's not nice. Your club gets attacked on a daily basis, but at the end of the day, the club have said they're innocent. The club have said they've got the evidence that they're going to use to prove their innocence. By the way, remember as well, it's not on City to prove their innocence. It's on the Premier League to prove that we're guilty. That's how it works. You know what I mean? They're saying you breach these rules. They're saying we've committed fraud. Prove it then. So that's not a case of, otherwise, you think of society, if that was the case, you just go around and say, I think you've done this, and it's up to you to prove your innocence. No, that's not how it works. Yeah. They're saying we've committed fraud. That's what they're saying. Prove it then. That's why it's took so long with all the legal sort of delays that have gone on, because City have been defending themselves at every right, again, which we've got the right to do. It's due process. So I mean, listen, we've been in lower divisions. You speak to some City fans, and some City fans are like, if we get relegated, they'll relish it. They'll relish the opportunity to come back up through the divisions again. So I think we're one of the only fan bases in the league that would take a sort of relegation as well as we would, because there's a lot of City fans who you speak to who sort of love the older days going through like the lower leagues and stuff. So most people are chill. It's not exactly nice, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows my feeling on it. I don't believe there's any smoke without fire, Elby, and I do believe that a lot of this is political. I've said my bit to you on the terrace about it. Nobbins can destroy me because he's a lawyer, and although I used to work as a paralegal, I was in mental health law, so it's absolutely nothing to do with anything to do with that side of the law. But I also don't think you'll get found guilty. Because like you say, I think that the burden of proof is on them, and to prove it, they would need so much. But it's frustrating as a rival fan and as a football fan, not only to have this sort of talked about in the Premier League, but also the fact that they keep saying City aren't cooperating. Because my view is, if you're innocent, why would you not cooperate? I don't understand that.
Well, for me, I've spoke to lawyers on this situation, and this is completely normal for any big corporation when they're going through a legal situation. I don't think people truly understand the gravity of this. That's why. I think obviously people understand 115. I don't think because a lot of people haven't read the CAS document. Yeah, most City fans have, because it's our club. But I don't blame other fans for not reading it. Why would you read a 92-page legal document about another club? You're not going to do that. It takes a long time. I don't think people fully understand the gravity of what is being alleged. Again, just to repeat, we're being accused of fraud. It's criminal. If City get found guilty, that means all the accounts that we've submitted for the last 8 years are all wrong. That's a crime. That's a crime. Who's on the hook? Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, one of the most recognizable businessmen in the world, our owner, vice president, vice prime minister of the UAE, all the board members at Manchester City during the time. By the way, one of them has just gone to Manchester United as the CEO. Yeah,
is that Omar
Barada?
Yeah,
all the board members at Etihad Airways, all the board members at Etisalat. These people are all involved in this corruption scandal. It would be one of the biggest scandals, one of the biggest corruption scandals we've ever seen. And then when you speak to lawyers, it's like, of course, Manchester City are going to take the legal advice. If you've employed a lawyer a lot of money, and the lawyer says, yeah, we don't think that what they're asking you to do here is right, so rather than do it and cooperate, let's go to court and get the court to say they're not allowed to ask it. Why would you not do it? Of course you're going to do that. You're going to defend yourself. This is a corporation, £1 billion corporation. So again, I just don't think people truly understand how bad this is. You know what I mean? It's bad.
Yeah. Richo, I think it's because Everton pleaded guilty straight away and put their hands up and said, yeah, we've done this, rather than City who were saying we haven't done this. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about the City. Yeah, do you not find that weird? I mean, they must be confident that Omar isn't going to be implicated if, by any chance, if Man City did get found guilty, because why would Manchester United employ him? It kind of feels like when we took Paratici on and there was all that business with his transfer things hanging over his head with Juventus. It's weird.
Yeah, it is strange. Yeah, listen, I don't know, because you don't know who knows what.
Yeah.
Do the Manchester United CEOs or the people who own the club know what's going on? Do they know that City are going to get found not guilty? Because surely to God, if you think, right, if you're Manchester United owners and you think that City are going to get found guilty, surely you're not going to employ a board member that dealt with sponsorships during his time at Manchester City. And you get United fans, it's hilarious, man. United fans will say, oh, he's got nothing to do with the charges. Go on the guy's LinkedIn. It literally says he dealt with sponsorships for Manchester City. He organised and arranged sponsorship deals for Manchester City. Yeah, he was a big deal. Of course he was implicated. Everyone is. All board members are implicated. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, from a City point of view, you look at it and go, that's encouraging. But at the same time, Kate, it's Manchester United. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't surprise you if they didn't even know what's going on with Manchester City. Like, do they even know we've got charges against them? I mean, that club's so finished. Who knows? But yeah, from a simplistic point of view, it does look, from my point of view, it looks like it gives me a bit of confidence. Surely they're not going to hire him if they think City are going to get found guilty.
Yeah, that's how I see it. That's what I said to Jim when you hired him. It doesn't make sense if they really thought there was a chance. I mean, we did still hire Paratici, but the whole Paratici thing isn't on the same scale as what this Omar would be implicated with. With fraud, it's a whole nother level. We had a question. Can I ask you two? Can the Premier League do a clean sweep of all the European trophies? I think yes this year. Because I think City could win Champions League, Liverpool Europa League, and Conference League. Who's in that? Is it Brighton?
Villa.
Oh, no, Villa. Villa.
Yeah, possibly.
And they're well capable, so it is well possible.
Mm-hmm.
Jimbo says, what about the rumours of City paying a wage to a manager for being a pilot?
No idea. But this is the thing. You know the charges? There was some stuff on there about our City paying Mancini through the back door. Mancini was asked about it. No one's spoken to me about it. So he's not even been interviewed. You would have thought that if they charged us with paying Mancini through the back door, they would have spoke to Mancini about it and said, right, we need to speak to you about these. We believe that you've been paid for a separate wage. He done an interview and said, no one's spoken to me, which is a bit weird. Yeah, he's done an interview. Because obviously if he comes out and says, yeah, they paid me twice, it was part of the deal, then you're kind of screwed. But he was like, no one's spoken to me.
Wow, that's bonkers. Herbal says, if City are found not guilty, how would you feel about the league and FA? Wouldn't they lose a lot of credibility in your eyes?
For me, I think
Um,
it'd be horrific for the Premier League. You can't bring 115 charges and not win them because
yeah.
the from a City point of view, and obviously the owners and everyone at Manchester City, the club's been attacked. Because these investigations have been on since 2016, 2018,
Mhm.
something like that. They've been going on for a long time. I think the Premier League have to win the case. If they don't win the case, everyone's going to look at it and say, "Hang on a minute, what are you doing?" Like you've been saying that City are guilty for all this time, and you can't win the case. So I do think they'd lose a lot of credibility. I think they'd lose a lot of credibility if they don't win the case.
It must as well be costing an absolute fortune. Obviously, not for City as well, but for the Premier League to be taking this action, it must be costing the Premier League a fortune. So for them to bring those charges and not win, I don't know how they can justify that. Really,
Mm.
I don't know. It's something we've never seen before. It's going to be interesting. I know they were talking about televising the trial, but I don't think that will happen somehow because they've kept
Nah.
everything really hush hush, haven't
They're
they?
not. They're not going to because again, they're not going to do that because of what they're talking about. They're talking about sponsorship deals with a company that's got billions of pounds of revenue. Don't think Etihad Airways will be too happy if all
No.
their accounts and all the sort of sponsorship terms are all being broadcast over the internet. Do you know what I mean? So no, it's done behind closed doors. And anyone that says something, if City get found not guilty, anyone that says, "Oh, it's a bribe, it's a corruption," the three people that are dealing with this, two of them are lawyers, like respected lawyers. I mean, you've got to just go with the outcome, and that goes both ways. By the way, if City get found guilty, then you got to accept that.
Yeah. I think most football fans, whether they think City are guilty or not, are expecting City to be found not guilty. Um, Obviously, now, like I said, Klopp's gone. Who do you think is going to be your next big, battler, if you like? Because City and I mean, I like the Guardiola Klopp battles. I'm not going to lie. Do you see any team up and coming, or
Mm.
that you're thinking, oh, they might be chasing the pack or coming up behind us soon, or are you still confident you're going to be miles above everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult to say because you just don't know what you're going to get from Liverpool, do you? You know what I
No.
mean? You don't know what you're going to get from Liverpool next season when Klopp's gone and maybe Salah. Arsenal, I just can't trust them to make the right signings. I just cannot trust them to make the right signings. They'll be up there for sure because they've got a good team, but to really kick on and go on and win it, I just think they'll make more stupid signings. I mean, they've wasted so much money over recent years. I mean, you don't even have to go back that long. 65 million on Havertz, 20 odd million on Kivior. That's 85. Vieira, 35 million. Zinchenko's probably not good enough in my opinion. That's 30 million. You're
Mm,
talking, you're almost at 150 million quid already. That's only going back 18 months.
yeah.
2 years. Imagine they could have got like a James Maddison, a Kudus, and I'd change. So I just can't black them. Villa are the interesting one because they've got money.
Yeah.
Will they be able to spend it with FFP is a different question. And they've got a great manager. Yeah, well, I mean, going into next season, you'd probably say they've got the second best manager in the division.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Emery, I think the way Arsenal fans disregard Emery is outrageous. I think he's such a good manager. But it is what it is. They won't ever admit that he's not as good. They all think Arteta's better than Emery, but no, for me, definitely not. I still think if Emery was there, they would have won more in this past 4 years than they have done with Lego Man. But
I
we
agree.
never
I don't
know.
know if they would have. I don't know about him. Like, do you think he's got? Because I don't think he's ever won a league title, has he? He
No,
seems to me like a cup manager.
yeah,
Um,
he is.
and I don't just say that because of what he's won. And it's like an easy. Well, he's only won cup, so you're just saying he's a cup manager. I think it's his style of play. Because the
Yeah.
Premier League now, because of how good City have been and how good Liverpool have been, like draws are not good enough anymore in this division. Draws
Hmm.
kill you, man. Like if you actually look, I think two seasons that we won the league by like a point or 2 points over Liverpool, they actually lost less games than us in both of the seasons, but they drew more than City.
Yeah.
So they lost less than City, but they drew more. City was obviously going for the win, and I just think you've got to win. And he doesn't. His style to me more resembles like, for example, it sort of resembles like Newcastle last year where they were just kind of happy in a couple of games to take points. Well, when you start progressing up, and you've seen that a little bit this year, I think Newcastle have been stuck a little bit at times because they're not able to, like, for example, last year. Do you remember when Newcastle went to the Emirates last year and they drew 0-0, and before the game there was in a title race at the time. It was early. I think it was like October or something. There was in the top three. I think they were like level on points with Arsenal, and the TV company Sky before the game said to Eddie Howe, "Are you in a title race?" And he went, "No, we're not in a title race." He went there, he shithoused a 0-0, and he was buzzing. And it was like, well, that's all well and good when you're not really in a title race, but then when you finish top four and you want to try and win a league, go into places like that isn't good to get a point. You kind of need to be beating the Arsenals of this world. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Villa develop and Newcastle as well.
They did say, no, not they didn't say. Oh, see, do you know what? I'm getting old. My brain's frazzled. It was something about what you said. Oh, I can't remember. It's gone. It's gone forever. Oh no, I know what I was going to say. It's come back. I do think that Eddie Howe won't be at Newcastle for that much longer. I think they're going to be looking to push to that next level, and I don't think they will take Eddie Howe with them. I don't know if you agree. I think they'll be looking for a more sort of elite manager, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, it's they've had a difficult season this year because of all the injuries they've had. But I mean, if we look at Newcastle and where they sort of finished in recent years, obviously when he come in, he took them away from the relegation zone. He did a fantastic job that year, got them into 11th position. Mad job, great. Because obviously when I think they might have been like close to the relegation zone. Last year he finished 4th. So, and obviously got to a cup final, which they were the better team but lost. So it doesn't really matter that you're the better team, you lost it. So going into the season, what would your expectations have been for Spurs? For me, expectations would have been try and get to another cup final, try and win a trophy, right? So I think they're out of the Carabao Cup. They're still in the FA Cup, I believe. Try and maybe get into the groups, get out the group stage of the Champions League. That was shambolic. Yeah, absolutely shambolic, and summed up by the final day on match day 6, where they could have actually qualified if they beat AC Milan, which they were winning because PSG drew. And for me, try and get back in that top 4. They've bombed out the Champions League. They're currently sitting in 10th, and I don't see them finish inside the top 4 now unless they put a mad run together. So it's a bit of a disappointment. So what I would do personally, I'd try and back him in the summer, and I'd just set him clear targets and say top 4 or you're gone. It's quite simple. I give him the year and just say, if you don't get us top 4 by the end of the year, this is next season, you're sacked. Yeah, and we'll back you. Because for me, he's got his second best striker in the division, in my opinion. I know Ollie Watkins is flying at the moment, but for me, I think Isak is the best striker behind. Yeah, he's mint, isn't he? Behind Haaland, I think he's probably the best striker. You got Bruno in there. You got Joe Linton, who's a very good player. He'll be back next year. You got Tonali, who's coming back. The defenders are good. You've got Gordon, who's doing really well right now. So for me, there's no excuse. Top 4 next year, or you sacked. There's none of this phase nonsense. Yeah, we need to stop this whole phase stuff. Because what it does is phases, it allows sort of poor seasons, and it's just a phase. No, if you're not good enough, like why are people married to managers these days? If they're not good enough, they're not good enough. And listen, no one's expecting teams from going from like 10th to winning the league, but you need progress, and it needs to be shown. It needs to be shown consistently. So for me, it wouldn't surprise me if they got rid of him this year, but I'd give him one more year. I think for me, he kind of deserves it, especially because of the injuries he's got. By the way, they've got to have a good second half of the season. Yeah, this season. If he bombs this second half of the season and they still finish 10th or they get even worse, then get rid of him. I'm basing my sort of opinion on the fact that maybe they have a good second half of the season and finish 6th. And then you get to the end of the season and say, we had a really bad start because of all the injuries. We recovered in the second year. Next season, top 4, you're gone, mate. Simple as.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I do think Clark has a good point. I think Howe would be great for England. I'm not going to lie. I think he'd be a great England manager. Certainly better than that Wally we've got in at the minute.
Oh, I can't stand him.
I
can't stand Southgate at all. I'm sorry. And by the way, there's a proper, like, not necessarily a myth because I guess it's true, but people say, he's got us to these finals. He's got us to these semi-finals. Have a look at the run, Whenever we play a decent team, we lose. He's been very, very fortunate to have the run that he has. Yeah. What's the difference between him and Capello? Capello got Germany in the last 16 rather than the semi-final. And the only time we did beat someone decent, by the way, was Germany, which I think was in the last 16 with Southgate. Germany were ass. That wasn't the Germany of years gone by. They were shocking. So for me, I think he's been a bit lucky in terms of his runs to the final have been pretty easy. And if you look at it, lost to Belgium in the group stage, lost in the third round playoff, lost against Croatia, lost against France, lost against Italy. If you actually look at it, there's only one team I think he's beaten that has been decent. Croatia, I think we beat them in the group stage, but they're aging, and Germany, who were rubbish anyway. So I think he's been a bit. I'd give him this tournament and just say, see you later, mate.
Yeah. Big up to Andrew Wright says, problem is every manager is trying to copy Pep this era. Well, Ange even said it. I'm just copying Pep, mate. I mean, I wish you could copy him all the way to the top of the league. But we'll see. You know, the thing about Southgate as well is football is so bloody boring to watch. It's like watching Conte ball all over again. It's just awful. And he doesn't take chances with the players. He just sticks with the same players. No matter who we're playing, he don't sort of try out anything different. Oh, I bet he's a real missionary position man. I bet he's a real boring swine in bed.
Yeah.
He's so set in his ways. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I can't stand the guy, man. Like, honestly, I just think he's shocking. And I'd change him to I'd change him now. Yeah, I'm not one of these people who are like, oh, you know, you can't sack him now because the tournament's in 6 months. And what?
Yeah,
who cares
exactly.
if you don't think you're going to win the tournament? What's the point in having him? You know, because this team is, you know, this team can win the tournament. The team's mint. One of the best teams we've had for a long time. So, yeah, I'd sack him now, and I'd either get someone like a Mourinho if you want to play that boring style of football, but you actually want to win. Or if you want to keep it English, yeah, get someone like a Eddie Howe or Graham Potter. But so here's the thing that I have with that is if you get Graham Potter or Eddie Howe, clear instruction to the manager, you got to play good football. Because there's no point in saying, oh, Eddie Howe, Graham Potter, I want you to play football that you think's going to win, like be a bit conservative. Because these managers haven't proved to anyone that they can win anything. They've never won anything in their careers. So what's the point? If you're going to do that, you might as well get Mourinho. So you get Mourinho, who's an experienced manager who's won stuff. It won't be pretty football, but you'll back your team to win. Or you go English, you get someone like Eddie Howe and just say, have it, you know what I mean? Let's just go out on the pitch and just go attack. And let's just, you know, we'll probably just not win anything, but we don't win anything now. At least we watch some good football. So I guess it's just your own opinions on it, you know. I'd personally get Mourinho if it was me.
Yeah. Mia says he's not just a missionary man, he's someone who makes you wait while he folds his clothes. And I bet you anyone you like, he keeps his socks on. Oh my God, I can just imagine. MCFC, another City fan, says, what positions do you need to strengthen in the summer to challenge next season? We need another striker and we need 2 new wingers, in my opinion, and an attacking midfielder. I really think that if we got 4 decent players there, then we'd be a force, but we won't get that many positions in at once. But that's what I think we need. We definitely need an option to Sonny. We've got Valise, another one, and we bought as a kid who's now injured. But yeah, 2 a winger, both sides, attacking midfielder and a striker for me. For some reason, GBC's asking you, what's your opinion on Conte?
Conte, similar sort of style to Mourinho. I don't know if you're asking me that in reference to the England job or his time at Spurs, but yeah, for the England job, yeah, again, fine. Like it's going to be boring. It's not going to be the prettiest football in the world, but you know, when England played Italy in the final, I'm telling you now, yeah, if we would have had Mourinho or Conte, we win that final.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I'm not necessarily so sure about France. Maybe not, because France are like a mega team, but we beat Italy if we have like a half-decent manager. So, yeah, there we go.
We might have beat you in that final if we'd have kept Mourinho for another week.
I mean, that was just bizarre. I mean, apparently, I don't know if this is true. You'll know more than me, but it was because if he won a trophy, he got like an extension on his contract automatically or something.
And he got a big bonus. He got a big bonus as well.
That is shambolic. That is just shambolic.
That's do you know what? That's the trouble. It's profit over glory at this club. But yeah, he would have got a big payday as well, and he didn't want to pay him out, so he sacked him, put Ryan Mason in charge.
Shocking. It's just a shocking situation. You know, it does appear that your club is now run for profit. You know, it's funny actually. I was in the pub today speaking to some people, and this woman was speaking to me about Spurs. I think we were just speaking about the game on Friday, and she went, "Oh, yeah, Spurs, you know, great club, great stadium. I'd love to go there. And I was like, oh, you want to go for a City match? She was like, no, we'll go for the concerts and that. And I was just like, that just sort of sums up where you're at the moment. It's like, you're more just there for just generating cash rather than actually winning. Now, like I said, I think that very small sign that maybe you're about to change. Hopefully for your sake it is, but with that guy at the helm, Daniel Levy, I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him.
No, like I say, second. No, we're now the number one richest club in London, which everyone's so happy about, but it doesn't really mean anything to us. So yeah, and also you had another question come in. It's like you're a celebrity. John Clark says, "Who was your favourite Man City player growing up?"
Sean Phillips.
Oh, Sean Wright Phillips. That's a name from, well, it feels like years ago. How long ago was that? It's not that long, is it?
Well, we had him twice, didn't we? We had him. We sold him in what? We sold him in 04, maybe 05, something like that. We sold him.
How old are you, Elby?
29.
Oh shit! That's why. That's why it feels so long. Doesn't feel that long ago to me. But yeah, it's probably when you were actually growing up. Yeah. Oh my god, I feel old.
Yeah. So that was. I would have been like what, 10, 12, something like that. Like so. Yeah. That was my favorite. But then we bought it again. We bought him back because obviously he went to Chelsea. It didn't quite work out for him, did it?
Yeah.
But apparently we needed to sell him at the time when the first time. Yeah, we needed the cash because obviously we were skint. So yeah.
He was a good little player.
He was a great player. Like he got the goals, he got assists, tricky player. Yeah, it was class.
And then it was Bradley Wright Phillips as well, wasn't there? But he never did as well as his brother.
He wasn't great. He ended up quickly going to America and just stayed in America for ages. So yeah, he wasn't as good.
Yeah. So you. Yeah, no, it's all right. I'm thinking in my brain. Wow, that makes me feel so old. No wonder everyone calls me grandma on the terrace. I am like a grandma to all you lot. I thought Jose's second had more to do with ESL. He told Levy it was a bad idea in a nice way. No, not the Super League. No, it was to do with money. Apparently, if paper talk and rumours from people with sources are to be believed, and it does kind of make sense because that is such a Levy thing to do. But we never know what would have happened if he'd have stayed on. A lot of people are saying they've read this tonight that Arteta's leaving Arsenal at the end of the season.
I've just seen that. It's been disputed by a couple of people. People saying it's Barcelona trying to stir some issues because obviously Xavi's leaving Barca at the end of the season. So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, if Arteta goes, that'd be pretty funny actually, because all these Arsenal fans that have backed him for so long, trust the process. Imagine if Arteta stayed there for 4 or 5 years and then just as he got them good went, yeah, I'm leaving, I'm going Barcelona. That'd just be absolutely hilarious. That's why I said don't get married to players, don't get married to managers, because there's no loyalty in this game, man. Like everyone should know this by now. You know what I mean? If there's a better offer that comes on the table, they're going. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not rocket science. If Real Madrid probably coming for Haaland, maybe you'll want to go there. You know, it's all about the money. It's all about where they actually want to be. There's no loyalty in this game. There's no loyalty. By the way, again, in a totally respectful way, don't get married to Ange, because if Ange does well at Spurs, but in 2 years' time you're in the top 4 and he's not quite getting what he wants, and then Pep leaves and City come calling for Ange or Liverpool, he'll leave. You know, it's not because for any reason. It's just people are not loyal. It's only a short career. They want to win. They want to earn as much money as possible. This is why I don't try and get married to players. I see all these people like repping players all the time, and you always hear like fans say, "Oh, this player's better than this player." It's just like I try and focus on the actual club. Like, what's my club doing? Because at the end of the day, that's what I'm married to. I'm married to the club. You're married to Spurs. Like, that's and Jim.
Do you go on? Sorry.
I was going to say Spurs first, Jim second. Is that right?
Well, he might put Spurs first, Kate second, but that's where we met as Spurs, so it kind of brought us together. So, did you when all that rumor was going around about Harry Kane with City? Was you hoping to get Harry Kane? Was you one of the ones who really wanted him? Yeah.
I mean, you're psycho if you didn't want him. Yeah. Unreal player. I mean, you know, I was gutted when we didn't get him. I was so gutted. I was convinced we were getting him as well, because I was like, City will just pay whatever they want. We'll pay it. We might pay 150. We might get, people will cook us and say you paid too much, blah, blah, blah. He's 29. He's this, you've overpaid. He's too old. I don't care about all that kind of stuff, mate. At the end of the day, if a player's out there and the best player in that position in the world, of course you're going to want him. So I was gutted when we didn't get him. I was gutted.
Yeah. I do wonder whether he's over in Bayern and he's looking at how we play and wondering, because obviously if we had Kane now with this system, I think his goal scoring record would be off the charts. He would just be fed constantly. And the chances we've missed where I've said, oh, Kane would have buried that. But maybe not. Maybe he's over there loving life thinking he did the right thing. I don't know. None of us know.
Well, he's smashing it over there. Shame Bayern aren't.
No, exactly. But he is, he's smashing it left, right, and centre. But what is this? You need to explain this comment. Elby is a City legend, both on YouTube and on the dance floor at Albert's Schloss, or at least that's the rumours. Is that a club or something?
Yeah, it's not. I don't think you've seen me dancing in there, but I do like a dance. I like a beer, so whenever I have a few beers, I'm always up dancing and singing karaoke. I love all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I love a bit of karaoke.
I'm not shy in the slightest, me. Like if I'm at a pub or something, there's a karaoke on there. I don't care who I'm with. I'm getting on a karaoke 100%.
That's me.
Don't live once, man. Have a good time. That's my sort of thing. Let's not be like reserved in that. Do what you want to do, man. Do what makes you happy.
And the thing is, when you're on karaoke, me personally, I think I sound like Adele. I think I sound off the charts good.
That's probably because you've necked a few wines or something like
that. Jim says, Kate first, Spurs second always, not even close. Yeah, he's got to say that. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, look, what's your song of choice, LB?
Oh, man, I have a lot. I like the Smiths, so anything by the Smiths. I tried to stay away from Oasis. I think it's a little bit too mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the Smiths, so anything really. Charming Man is one of my go-tos. So
yeah. Do you live near the ground? Like, do you go to the games now, or did you used to go main road?
No, so I had a season ticket for 10 years, and then I started a podcast whilst I had the season ticket about 2 to 3 years, and then when COVID happened, we started doing like the watch-alongs on stuff because we couldn't go to the games. And then we started doing the watch-alongs, and it just started to pick up. And we used to get I remember one of the first watch-alongs we did, we had not a lot of people watching us in a watch-along. I was like, oh yeah, well, this will just be a short-term thing. And then by the end of COVID, by the time games come back, we was getting thousands of people watching us doing the watch-alongs. I was like, what is going live? And I was like, what is going on here? And we started making some money out of it, and not as much as money as I made my actual job, but I thought, what, we have a decision to make here. Do we give this a go and maybe run it? Obviously, we won't be able to go to the games because we'll be doing this now, or do we still go to the games? So we ran it, did that for a few years, went full time, quit my job, and then I left in the summer, started it solo, and I'm just doing it myself. It's my full time job, which is very fortunate.
Oh, you do it as a full time job?
Yeah, it's a full-time job. Very fortunate to be in it. I don't get to go to the games because, of course, I've got to do the watch-alongs, which is the only downside. But I just, it's the time. Like, people ask me, I don't earn as much money as I did in my main job, but I have the time. You know what I mean? I get to go do stuff in the day, go to the gym, look after my health and all that kind of shit. That it's like when you've got a job like up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're rushing around the house, you get to work. You don't have time to prepare food. It's all that kind of stuff that's the benefit of it. So I just do it full time now, and I still go to an away day now and again, because for me, people say, oh, do you not miss going to the games? I do obviously miss going to the games, but for me it was more the away days. Do you know what I mean? Like all my mates, not all my mates, but some of my mates go in and the beers, the typical away days. So I still go to 1 or 2 a season, but I think I'm going to go to the Etihad this year because I've not been since COVID, which will be it'll be a weird feeling for me, that, because the last game that I went to at the Etihad was before COVID. Which obviously I had my season ticket, so it'll be a weird feeling because obviously a lot's gone on in the world in that 4 years. Yeah. So it'll be strange for me to step back into that stadium. And some people don't get it. Some people are like, I could never do that, and I get it. But if you have a chance to quit your job and do something that you love, talking about football all day, I mean, why wouldn't you? So
yeah, I get you. Obviously, I only started this channel 7 months ago, so it's all quite new to me. But Terry was nice enough to give us a go on the terrace, so I got to meet all you big stars on YouTube, the likes of you and Sam and all these people with thousands and thousands of followers. But top of the league's asking where your seat was.
I moved 3 times. So my first season ticket when I was a kid. By the way, I have a guess. When I was my first season ticket was in 2006, 2007. So I would have been about 13, something like that. Have a guess how much my first season ticket was, just for Premier League games, no cup games included. How much do you reckon it cost me when I was 13, 14? For full season.
150 quid.
£40.
Shut up.
Yeah, £40 my first season ticket. I'll never forget that. And then it went up by like a tenner and tenner. So anyway, I sat in the Colin Bell stand, and then when we got Pellegrini, I moved to the South stand, which is the singing section, because I was probably like, I don't know, like late teens. So I was like drinking and stuff, you know what I mean? So I wanted to be like in the more singing section, you know what I mean, rowdy area. And then when Pep Guardiola came, I don't want to sit here anymore. I want. This is the best manager in the world. He's going to play some mad football. I want to sit somewhere with the best view. So I rang up City the day that we could move, and I said, "Listen, mate, I want to move my season ticket. I don't want to sit behind the goal anymore. I want a mint view." And he went, 100 quid extra a month, 100 quid extra for the year, 800 quid total for the season ticket, front row seats of the third tier. Not proper central, like probably about midway between the halfway line and the goal. 800 quid a month, front row seats. It was bliss. I used to walk in, put my feet up I was just, cause I'm quite tall as well, man. So like I'm 6'3", 6'4", so it's pretty uncomfortable sitting down.
Yeah.
Because you know what them seats are like, blue plastic cheap things, aren't they? So it was great for me. I used to sit back, put my feet up. Yeah, put my feet up on the bars, and I just used to watch football. It was great. But yes, I moved there because obviously Pep Guardiola. Because obviously you got a manager like that. I'm sure you're probably slightly similar now. You got a manager that plays good football. You want to watch, have a good one. So yeah, so I sat there for a while until I started doing this.
Wow, that must have been hard to give that up, because that's somewhere I'd love to sit right down the front. You know, It's just unreal. So yeah, but I mean, if you can make a living out of it, then good luck to you. You got Jim's just subscribed to you, Elby. He always likes you.
I was actually 4 subscribers away from 13,000 subscribers, but before I come on the show.
So if you haven't subscribed, please do, because let's get him over that channel.
I'm 3 off now. 3 subscribers away from 13,000.
Don't be tight. Go and sub to LB. Jim always said to me, that guy that's on the terrace, that City fan, he's a very balanced, which everyone has said. When I said you was coming on, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, LB, I like LB," because you're quite able to take off that bias head, if you know what I mean.
Because anyone can do that. If you like football, you can not be biased. You can take the bias away. And I love to talk about football. Like I say, I do it all day, every day. So and you kind of there are certain shows. Like, for example, if I'm doing a show with Hassan, where our relationship is more sort of like, we're going at each other all for an hour, you know what I mean? So I might be less, I might be more biased there. But like, when I'm on a show like this, or I'm on a show where I can tell the other person just wants to speak about football, like, I'll just speak about football. You know what
I mean? Did your missus work? Like, was she all right with you giving up work to do it?
Yeah, she was chilling.
That's nice. Yeah. It's nice to have that time, because you never get time back at the end of the day. So good luck to you. But like I say,
I've never made as much as I did in my main job. That I used to work for an insurance company, and so it's not about the money. People say they only do it for the money. I can tell you, I don't do it for the money. I mean, less now than I've done it probably in the last decade. But it's the time, and people get this. You know what it's like, don't you? Like to have time in the day to be able to do your own stuff at your own pace, man. Like. That's what's good about it. Like it's I'm very privileged, you know what I mean, and I know I am, to be able to do that. But to be able to wake up in the morning and say, maybe I don't want to do a stream this morning, I just want to chill out, or I want to go shopping in the daytime when the shops are dead, or go to the gym when the gym's dead, or just whatever, like go and see a mate or something in the day. That's what it's about. It's not the money, the money's not it. And I've always said I don't think I'll ever earn as much as I did when I worked for the insurance company, because we're not United, we're not in Arsenal. or Liverpool, because these fan bases are fucking huge. I mean, you only have to look at some of the fan channels for these clubs. They've got like 2 million subscribers.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? So
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You just got another sub as well, because Drewler's just subbed. Jim says, very calm as well. Doesn't get flustered or lose his temper, which I like. I'm surprised if you don't lose your temper with Hassam. He's infuriating at times.
Nah, so you gotta play for Sam for what he wants you to do. That I've sussed him out, man. He knows they don't get under my skin, because I understand what he's trying to do. You know what I mean? You got to just sort of like take a step back a little bit with Hassam.
LB, would you swap losing to us in the FA Cup match to get 3 points in the league at ours this season?
No, because we could lose at your place and still potentially win the league.
Yeah,
if we got beat in the FA Cup, that's it. You're out the FA Cup. So I would say no to that. Good question, but
yeah, even though he doesn't think they're going to win the FA Cup this year.
Yeah. True.
6'4". I don't know what I think they're talking to each other. Oh, another sub. Oh, you must be nearly there.
And one away. One away.
And another one. I think that should be it. I believe.
Maybe it's not coming through. It still says I'm one away. So yeah, I'm one subscriber away from 13,000.
Cool, 13,000. That's unbelievable. It's hard as well, because obviously, what's that? If I ever fancy hospitality, it'll be the bar on the second tier south stand. I think it's the Legends Bar. Thank you very much, Top. It's hard as well. Obviously, you don't get that many girls. I don't know if there's many Man City girls that do it.
I don't think there's any.
No, this is what I mean.
No.
You don't
not YouTube.
No, you don't get that many females doing it. So yeah, but you know what? I didn't do it ever to become massive. You've hit 13. It's just come through on mine.
Let me refresh.
Yay!
Yeah, it is. Thank you very much. Thanks, Kate. Thank you to the chat. 13,000 subscribers. Thank you very much.
That's all right. But yeah, it's hard, but I enjoy it. You're getting. Oh, look, let's block this person who's coming, not being very nice to me. You always get the odd one, don't you? So yeah, I come on. I did it literally because I'm always talking about football. Me and Jim have got polar opposite views most of the time. He's forever the eternal optimist that Levy's going to change and back everyone and back every manager, and we're going to win something. And I'm the eternal, I say realist, some say pessimist, who thinks it's just going to be the same again and we're going to end up sacking hand and go back to the beginning. So it works well. But listen, LB, I'm not going to keep you any longer. We covered everything I wanted to talk to you. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the channel. I'm glad that you hit your 13. That was good. But yeah, I mean, when are you on next? Are you on the terrace tomorrow night on the top six?
No, because I do straight facts with him on Tuesday, so I try not to put my name forward for top six on a Monday. I will do if no one's available. I'll say that I'll do it if no one's available, but like I don't really want to do the top six show with Terry on a Monday and then do straight facts on a Tuesday, because we might speak about the same thing. So I will be on the show if no one can make it and he needs a face. But other than that, I'm on with Terry on Tuesdays. Me and Dan Potts, you probably know him, Arsenal fan. We do a straight facts on Tuesday. So he actually got, I don't know if you know this Spurs guy, Rez. Do you know him?
Yeah, the Resonator. Of course I know Rez. Well, he calls me Schlag. That's my nickname.
Rez destroyed Dan Potts on our last straight facts. He done a great video. I actually got away scot-free because we were speaking about Spurs and Dan was cooking Spurs and going sick at Spurs and just like slagging them off, and then I started speaking. I was like, oh my God, he's going to cook me. And I was actually all right. I was nice. And even the things that I said that I didn't like about Spurs, which we touched on before about the transfers and stuff, like how I think you need to improve on that, he took well. So, yeah, it was good. It's I like him. He's quite funny. He's
he's hilarious. Well, you've done me some good because I was 30 odd away from 1,000 and I'm 26 now. So I've got a few subs from Man City fans and stuff. So it's been a great stream. I've really enjoyed it. Like I say, I always like streaming with you on the terrace anyway, but it's nice to be able to talk to you about City and Spurs and see what your thoughts are. And I still think you'll win the FA Cup, I'm not going to lie. I think your gut's wrong on this one.
Do you think we could do a double treble? Do you think we could win the treble again?
Yeah, I do. Wow. I think you're that good and that much better than everybody else. I did have Liverpool down as being winning the league this year, but with this Klopp business, it could work either way. I know it could galvanise them but I think it's going to cause unrest in the team, especially with Salah potentially going to Saudi. I think it's not going to do him any good.
Yeah.
So I think City are probably going to win the league. And yeah, I expect you to win the Champions League, and then I expect you to probably win the FA Cup as well. So yeah, that'll be unbelievable. 2 trebles in a row. Can you imagine?
And imagine the odds you could have got on that at the start of last season. Jeez.
Oh my God.
Be a millionaire, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh bloody! I still can't believe you've got 125 to 1 on De Bruyne.
I know it's crazy. All my mates got on it, and then I put it on Twitter and I was like, guys, you need to get on this bet, man. 120. Because listen, I don't think he's going to do it because I just think it's so tough. We've only got 19 games left, and he's already 7 behind, but he's not going to be far away. And them odds are just wrong. Them odds are just the wrong price. So I got on it. You can't do it now. I think it's like 16 to 1, so it's not worth your money really. But you might think it is worth your money, but yeah, 125. That is just ridiculous.
I actually think they made a mistake there because I can't comprehend that price at all.
I didn't realise that De Bruyne was coming back as quickly as they did. I don't think because
maybe
he come back like a week later.
But yeah, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. So, do you do daily streams over on your channel? Like, do you have set times, or just do it as and when?
Not really set times. No, I try and wait to see what news is about. So yeah, I tell the chat, as you probably do, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell because I go live at any time.
Yeah, you never know when Elby's going to pop up. But yeah, I know you do straight facts on a Tuesday. So listen, it's been great. Absolutely lovely having you on, Elby. I really appreciate you coming on the channel. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to say before we go?
No, not really. Thanks for having me on. I mean, when you do an hour stream, 40 minutes, and it flies by, you've had a good chat. So big up to inviting me on. Thank you very much to everyone in the chat. I'd seen some good comments there tonight. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to Kate's channel. Make sure you're liking the video. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I've really enjoyed it.
No worries. I'll make sure that we do another stream when Tottenham turn you over at our place in the league. She says, thinking, "Oh, please let that happen."
Now we've got to score at your place in the league. That's the next task.
Yeah. Oh, you'll have Haaland back. Haaland obviously will want to score now at our place. He's just a machine. I can't even cope with him. I'm sure he's a robot.
Yeah, he's just an absolute beast. He's a freak. I mean, his goals last year were just ridiculous.
They were. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Please make sure you smash the like. Please go and sub to LB. The link is in the description as well. And yeah, LB, thanks again. And have a good evening, everyone. And I'll see you tomorrow at 12:30. Thanks for watching.
Cheers, guys.